sidewalk totally in the left. Let's just clear that area.
Left lane.
I function quite well over there.
Okay, good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the continuation of the RSU 14 School Board meeting on June 27, 2018. We are just leaving executive session, and we're now going to be hearing from Lisa Garno, Student Services Director.
No, it's fine. I'm a big girl. I'm fine. So thank you all for having me this evening. I appreciate you squeezing me in on the last day. So just sort of preferencing today, I'm really coming to talk to you about sort of reallocating some funds in the budget lines. And so I had the opportunity to talk with both Don Davis and Stacy Webster about this issue, and then also talk to Sandy. So since we put our budget through, and you folks were gracious enough to approve it, and the taxpayers were gracious enough to approve it, I had a couple changes in staff. And so that's what I come before you today to really just talk about, give you the story, and then tell you what I'm asking for. So we'll just do them as separate items. So the first one is a nurse position at Jordan Small. And so for those of you that are new to the board, every year I've been here, we've dealt with nursing. And so I was super psyched. This is the year no nursing. And then Vicki Clark decided to take retirement. And I so appreciate Vicki taking her retirement, but she will be very much missed. And so in an effort to try and replace her or find someone to take her position, we have currently in the district 4 RNs and 2 LPNs, and so Vicki is one of those LPNs. The LPN certification allows us to administer some medical services that a medical assistant cannot. So the minimum requirement that we can have, or certification we can have in our nursing positions, giving our current student population, would be an LPN or an RN. And so when we posted, while we did get a couple of folks who had a medical assistant, they aren't able to work with our students with diabetes, and some of our seizure medication is pretty heavy duty, so you have to have an LPN or RN. And so there just isn't a pool of LPNs. And so we did a little research, and the college programs aren't graduating LPNs anymore, so that pool is getting smaller and smaller. So we did have some qualified candidates who were RNs and would be willing to post again if we needed to. But that said, when Dawn and Stacy and I looked at the numbers, between Vicki's salary and what we would need to move this position from the support staff contract to the teachers lane is really about $15,000. And so looking at across student services, the number of retirees that I had that had extended years of service, so well into the 25, 35 range, their salaries were pretty significant. And so, again, just playing out a few different scenarios, knowing that I'm hiring staff as well, Stacy and I feel comfortable that I could easily pull $15,000 out of the special ed line for salaries and benefits and move that over to the nursing line in order for us to be able to hire a full-time RN. We currently have students at Raymond Elementary that are under the supervision of Courtney, and so Courtney as the RN covers both Manchester and Jordan Small. And so unfortunately when kids are having dips in their blood sugars and those sort of things, we really can't wait. And so we're kind of in a dilemma. So that's sort of why I'm here to ask you for consideration for letting me reallocate some of the salaries and benefits from the special education line to the nursing line, to be able to move that from an full-time LPN to a full-time RN, to be able to meet the medical needs of students who are actually at Raymond, soon to be at RES, soon to be at Jordan Small. So that's item 1. So I don't know if you want to stop and ask me questions about that one before we. Okay.
So does anyone have any questions about that before we go into a motion about that position? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the position classification for nurse assistant or LPN at Jordan Small Middle School to school nurse, RN.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Now, any discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it. And Randy came in case we had any questions that I couldn't answer. So thank you for that. And then item 2 is also reallocation of money within the student services budget. So again, find myself in a different position for staffing. So Ruth Crowell, who has been the school psychologist for many years in Raymond Elementary, hers was a unique situation. So without giving information around her personal situation, she's chosen to resign from the district, which created a 2/5 position 2 days a week in Raymond. And then I had budgeted $45,000 under contracted services school psychology, knowing that we were already sort of desperate, if you will, for school psychology services. And so I met with Dr. Babcock, who oversees the school psychologist for our district, and then Stacy and Dawn and Sandy. And so really looking at what are the needs. And so just like RN, school psychologists are a coveted breed. They're fewer and far between, and really qualified staff are hard to come by. So part-time staff is even harder to come by. So looking at the needs of the district and what our hope had been for some of the work that Dr. Babcock would do, we've really been inundated, and Chris could probably speak to the number of new referrals that we had coming out of the high school this year, as well as students that were due for their 3-year review. So Dr. Babcock alone did between 70 and 85 evaluations this year, which are extremely time consuming. And so for some of those kids at the high school particularly, this is the last evaluation that they'll have before they go to college. And so some colleges require updated evaluations in order to, while they don't have IEPs at college, you need them to be able to access the special ed services. So we want to be thoughtful and comprehensive in meeting those students' needs. So in talking with everybody that sort of players in this realm, what we would like to propose is that we would take Ruth's 2/5 position and be able to move the $45,000 that we currently have in contracted services to salaries and benefits under school psychologists, which would give us roughly $72,000, which is in line with the other full-time school psychologists that we have. They currently work on the teacher contract, and so we feel comfortable that we would be able to fill that as a full-time position. We're very fortunate that folks want to work in RSU 14, and we have a really good team. And so my sort of urgency in not waiting on it is that Gorham, Brunswick, Portland, and Westbrook are all currently, with their most recent budget approvals, also have openings for full-time school psychologist positions. So we've done a nice job recruiting folks to come and work for us because we're really a fun group to be with. So our hope is that we would be able to get a full-time person who would then get to know the staff, get to know the students, instead of having to contract here and there for folks who are just going to kind of drop in, do an eval, and head out. Whoops, and might not, be able to attend the IEP meeting and that sort of thing. So again, no new money, just shifting it from one line to another.
Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I move to approve an increase for the position of school psychiatrist from 2/5 to 5/5, from a 2/5 to a 5/5 position.
Excuse me, that needs to be psychologist.
What did I say?
Psychiatrist.
Psychologist.
Okay. No.
I might need a psychiatrist, Eric, but I really need a school psychologist right now.
We'll split the ride.
Okay.
Okay, we all understand that to be school psychologist. Okay. May I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Once again, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you.
We're looking to add some more folks to our team.
Thank you, Lisa.
Great. Thanks, Lisa.
I can send Randy home.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve the second reading of the policy on facilities?
I move to approve the second reading on the revised policy KFD, Facilities Use Policy Attachment.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Now, discussion? I haven't heard any from anybody. So,
I
I feel like
haven't.
we've talked about this in no.
Yeah.
but I haven't received any emails or
Okay.
phone calls.
Neither have I. Okay. Are we all set?
Mhm.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Kate Bricks will be very happy to know that this policy passes.
So is Bill.
I know.
So will Marlene. So. Okay. Next is a motion about the generator. Do you want to talk about it first, or what would you like to do?
Good evening. I'm Bill Hanson, Director of Facilities. The proposal is for a natural gas-fired generator for our treatment plant. It will provide backup power that we would have the plant to continue to operate when we lose power. Presently, we don't have that situation, so we have to actually call in the septic pumps and have them pump it out. So this is something that DEP wants to see us have in our plant, so we operate 24/7. So it is competitively bid, and we're going with a Cummins generator as opposed to a Kohler. We look at two. Right now, all our generators are all Cummins, so I'm staying consistent with that line. It was a recommendation of the vendor that it was like less than $100 difference to go from one to the other. Pretty minor. So.
What's the decibel level like for this generator?
It actually has. I don't have that. Well, I can tell you. I have the bid with me. It actually has a quiet.
Facilities guy.
Yeah.
It has a quiet cover to it.
It's got a buffalo.
So just bear with me a minute. It's called the Quiet Connect Series RS660, and provided that my eyes will work, I'm getting older. I think that the dBs are listed in here. If they're not, I'll be happy to get you that. But specifically, it's designed to address that issue. Okay. Sound attenuation enclosure, it says. It doesn't tell me what that dB is. It does have that enclosure, but it doesn't tell me. I can get back to you with that number.
Of course, it's going to vary at what distance you are from it.
Correct. Right here, it says right here, 69.8 dB at 23 feet with a sound level 2 enclosure was what it has.
69 for up to 20 feet?
23 feet.
23 feet. How far away is it going?
It's going to be building? Actually inside the fence of the treatment plant.
It's going to be inside the treatment plant. It's not going to be. Okay.
Yeah. We originally looked at putting it out in the corner of field 2. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is it becomes a really attractive nuisance being there. I can see kids could be jumping on top of it, doing the surf move and other stuff like that. So I think it'd be much better to put it inside the treatment plant fenced area, so it's kind of out of sight of the mind.
Okay.
I have a question, Madam.
Yes.
Busy. So I see that it was natural gas. Is this being piped in, or is this organically produced?
That would be really cool if we could find a way to capture methane off the
And
waste.
what would the decibel level be on that?
We're going to be extending the natural gas line that's up on the main campus road down to the.
I do
generator.
that. I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay. No, that's good.
Okay. Could I have a motion, please?
I move to award a contract to PowerPoint Generator Power System, Saco, Maine, for a natural gas generator and transfer switch at the sewage treatment plant not to exceed $26,034.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Obviously not. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next.
I move to authorize the superintendent to enter into the financing agreement for the lease purchase of the awarded bid through PowerPoint Generator Power System, Saco, Maine, of one new neutral gas generator through Gorham Leasing Corporation at $26,034 at 3.45% fixed amortized over 3 years at an annual cost of $8,973.95, should that be in the best interest of the district pursuant to 20A MRSA subsection 40013 in the format presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay. And now we want to discuss the Strout property site work.
Yep. So an RFP was put out to create a parking lot area on Strout, and it serves two purposes. One, the first purpose is it's going to provide a place for us to put the bus fleet when school starts. As you're aware, we have a construction project going on in Public Works. We're hopeful that that space will be ready in time when school starts, but in the event that it's not or the project slips, we need a place to put the buses, because if you go to the high school right now, you see they're in the teaching parking lot, and I know now that Chris is the assistant superintendent, soon to be. I know that Ryan would not be happy to have no place for teachers to park. So that's his first purpose. The second purpose is it is going to have lights installed, so it actually provides us much needed parking on the weekends as well as on nighttime events that we don't have. And if you go in that end of campus, there is no lighting either in that area or along the roadway. We rely upon the stadium lights to wash over to provide some minimal lighting in that area, and the plan would be to put an electrical service in there as part of this to start to run lights in that parking lot area as well as down the roadway. Probably going to get two lights down the roadway, so most of the paved parking area will have light as well from this project. So that's what we're looking at. It's going to have the ramp up to it from the lower parking lot will be paved to get to the flat, but the rest of it will be gravel this time. That's pretty much what I've got.
Do you happen to have more copies of that layout? Those of us on the facility committee received it, but
I didn't bring it with me tonight. I apologize. I'll be happy to send all the board the layout drawings. I've got that. They're in a PDF form, so you can pull them out and look at them. I'll make sure that I do that. So it'll hold 22 buses, and we're going to be putting the conduit in the ground and post. If we need to install the plugins, we'll have the ability to do that as well. Again, it would depend on when we're able to get back to the Public Works facility, our shared maintenance facility. Again, hopeful that we don't have to install the plugins, but really want to have the ability to. We have to move in that direction. If things are delayed or things occur, we could have some bad weather, that we have the ability to continue to operate, because that's kind of a requirement.
Sure is. Yep.
For those sitting here who are not sure, could you just tell them where the Strout property is?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So the Strout property, it borders Wyndham Center Road, and what right now we call Stadium Road, and that's a whole other thing I need to bring to the board, because Chief Libby would really like us to get our campus roads all named. So it's one of the things I need to bring back to you when you come back from summer recess. That's one of the things that will be on your agenda is approval of the roads names. But what now we call Stadium Road, which brings you down towards the stadium, closest to the shared maintenance facility. It's on the corner of Stadium Road and Wyndham Center Road, between that road and the library. So it's a pretty good parcel. So we'll be in the very near future here. Once you have approval from the board, we'll be working to we'll grub the property, get the trees off of it. It is going to have stormwater treatment. It's required by DEP. The good news is way back when, those of you who are on the board, when we took the building down, which is now probably 7 years ago in that time frame, we did apply for and received a permit from the DEP to build the parking lot. So we had that in hand, and we've been through the town planning board, and they've approved it. The one condition that they did want to see on it, in addition to planning and the fence which we're putting in, is they wanted to see some controls in the lights, and I'm working on the vendors with that, because that's kind of pretty standard now that we can dim those lights down at nighttime when there's no traffic and stuff like that to save some energy. So that is one of the things that we'll be incorporating in this.
Dawn?
Bill, is there currently a little parking area between that area? It's just going to be like from there, it's going to be extended.
Correct. So what you see now is what's left of when the barn was torn down and the house was torn down. There was some gravel that was placed to fill in the depression. So it's become a kind of free for all parking area now. And you've noticed the buses have been parked up there for a period of time, because if you go down to the Public Works facility, you'll see that the project is proceeding very nicely, and we've really lost any opportunity to park the buses as they're bringing the fill up. this point in time. It's about 3 to 4 feet above where the buses were parked. So it's served us well, and it has been used in the past for parking and events, but this will formalize it. It also will be removing the 2 curb cuts that come onto Wyndham Center Road, so all the traffic now will be coming out through Stadium Road. And what that does is it really cleans up that competition that occurs when there's cars coming out of those lanes as well as Wyndham Center Road. It actually makes it safer.
Okay, could I have a motion about this, please?
I move to award a contract to C.R. Tanberg, Wyndham, Maine, for site work / parking lot, not to exceed $88,187, note, funded via CRP funding.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
What is the CRP?
I was just going to say,
Okay. Yeah. So we fund projects basically 3 different ways. Well, actually 4 ways. Small projects are funded directly from the operating budget. Larger projects are classified as MIP, maintenance improvement projects. Those are also funded from the operating budget, and they're generally, in general terms, projects that occur in one fiscal year and paid for with cash. Those are kind of the 2 things. The other option is a lease purchase, which what the generator was. It's purchased out of funds from the operating budget, but it occurs over multiple years. So any lease that we enter into requires board approval because it's gapping more than one fiscal year. So you have to know that when you do that you're committing the RSU for following years to make that payment. And then the last funding we have is through our CRP, and that is a capital reserve project. So this year, at the end of the, as part of the warrant articles, there was an article to transfer money into the capital reserve specifically for projects. And at the time, we transferred $100,000 for this project to address parking in the main campus, which this is the main part of it, but that's why we put it in there. So that would be a fund balance transfer of existing fund balance to a CRP. And it's kind of the fourth way that we fund projects, and it's been very helpful to me in that it doesn't tie my hands to a fiscal year, and that's really helpful because when you wait until July 1st to get a project going with money that's set for that year, or you wait until school's out for the current year, there's very little time to actually spend that money within the time frame that school's out. I really kind of wish that the fiscal year was September 1st to August 31st. It would be a lot easier for me, but that's not the way it is. So the CRPs are not, they're outside of the operating budget, so they don't have that fiscal year challenge, which allows me to start projects earlier and also continue projects over multiple years.
Anything else? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Nobody.
Thank you very much. I didn't want to have to take the buses back to my house. Right now, it's going to be completed before school starts. In fact, if you notice, you'll see that there's an excavator over at Field Allen right now. They'll be starting that work tomorrow in preparation to get the level base for the module to go, and then after that they're heading over to Strout property. So I anticipate the priorities that we're running the site work with is Field Allen, then going to Strout property, and then we're going to go to the high school for adult ed, because the adult ed module won't be in until sometime later in the year, and we really need to have the bus parking ready to go in the event that the project slips down. Again, I'm very hopeful the project doesn't slip, but I think it's in our best interest to have that space available should it. And the only other option we had to put the buses that I'm aware of would be way down to JA, and that would become really challenging for Mike because it's way out of the way. And we are storing some additional buses up in Raymond, but again, that's problematic in that you've got a fleet of 28 that are running plus or minus, and you're going to run 6 in Raymond. The other 22 have to have a place to be in. And so to add the Raymond trip as part of that would be challenging. A few bus drivers are taking the buses home. That's helped as well. So this summer you'll see buses behind the middle school and by the high school. You can see our van fleet will be parked in the parking lot that is between Field 2, which is the field hockey field, which is behind the maintenance shed, and what the retention pond for primary school and that dead-end parking lot. Now you'll see the vans we parked there is where they were all off-site working on while they're working on the shared maintenance facility. All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Okay, next on our agenda is appointments. Now, I have a question for Mr. Prince, and that is I got an email which I'm struggling to find from Holly about some additions. I don't see their names here. I know one is not.
It's Michelle Lane,
Okay,
CAGS,
right?
$60,675.
Okay, should we put this as a part of the motion, or are you adding this now, or what?
Well, we can add it after you add it.
Okay, why don't we do that, and you can add that. Okay, could I have a motion, please, about appointments?
I move to approve the following appointments for the 2018-2019 school year. Kristen Chabanel, Library Media Specialist, Wyndham High School. Master's, salary of $40,625. Kimberly Hartwell, Special Education Teacher, Wyndham Primary School. Master's, $55,875. And Maria Goodwin, Science/Social Studies Teacher, Wyndham Middle School. Attainment Master's, salary of $59,525. Krista Haberstroh, I apologize if I said it wrong, School Counselor, Wyndham High School, Master's, salary of $47,175. Nicole Densmore, English Teacher, Wyndham High School, Master's, salary of $42,625. Jessica Golden, Teacher, Grade 8, Wyndham Middle School, Bachelor's, salary $50,948.
I can add the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Lane, CAGS, at an annual salary of $60,675 for Wyndham High School Computer Tech Teacher position. That's a replacement. Also, Robin Greeley, Masters, at an annual salary of $58,775, hired for RES, Wyndham Primary School Art Teacher position, and that's a replacement position as well.
Can I have a second?
Second. For the
It's
second.
been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Doesn't Kristen Chabanel already work here?
Kristen Chavanel was an ed tech at Wyndham High School. She was a library tech. There was an additional librarian approved within the budget, and so she's moving.
Okay.
Resigned from one position and moving to.
Got it.
But that is correct.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded, and we've kind of already voted, but let's vote again. All those in favor, all those opposed. Okay. All right, now, report of the secretary. Could I have a motion?
I move to approve the minutes of the June 6th, 2018 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I don't know, Pete's not here.
I
I'm
was
not
just
sure.
gonna say.
You can go. Pete,
Okay.
can you call in, please?
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the minutes of the June 20th, 2018 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just so you'll feel better, I did discuss this with Terry
Okay.
because the numbers were a little fluky, but it was a matter of people who came in late, so the numbers look off on the people who voted because they were not there for some and there for others.
Can you be specific about that?
I can, and it's right. It's correct on the thing. If you go to the 20th, whoops, where is that one? Okay, there were There was one there was one person who was absent that evening. But we started off with 7 because there were 2 people who came in late, so they were not there for the beginning meeting.
Oh, okay.
That was the
Yep.
earlier meeting and couldn't
Right.
make it, and that's why the numbers look a little odd to
Okay.
people, and they don't account to what we think it should be.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded. Anything else? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Committee reports.
None of my committees have been done for a while.
Okay, I know that policy hasn't met, so facilities.
Facilities did meet. I can say that finance has not met.
Right.
But so as far as the facilities, we did have a meeting yesterday. There was a few points of conversation. The first being the shared maintenance facility. We did discuss the timeline. So we are kind of currently looking at, what's going on with that timeline. It does look like there could potentially be a little bit of a delay. And the reason for that is mostly because it appears as though that steel is getting bought up, and it's getting bought up very quickly by potential tariffs that might be coming down the line. So manufacturers of the steel are having a little bit of a harder time keeping up with the demand because people are trying to buy it up before the tariffs kick in. So that also led into a conversation about the Stroud property. It is a really great thing that this board approved Bill to be able to work with that property because that is a contingency plan for us should the timeline be much later than into the school year. So that was the first point, topic of conversation. The second one was the middle school. As everybody is very well aware now, we were approved, ranked number 5 amongst the state DOE for approval for middle school. The timeline, it looks like it is going to be out for a little bit. It doesn't look like the DOE is going to be releasing any money for any of these projects until there is a new governor in place. So that does push the timeline out for a new middle school to potentially 2024 at the earliest. So we're looking at a ways. So you have a question?
No, I'm counting how many years.
Yeah, that's a while.
A lot. That's what I
She's doing fun math.
It's a while.
My grandson, who is in the 2nd grade right now, will be in the high school.
My daughter, who is going into 7th grade, that'll be her senior year. So, but as Mr. Howell pointed out, I think there can be a little bit of good coming from this. It gives us time to really kind of sit back and see exactly what it is we need. And the other thing is that the high school bond and the RES bond come off the books. So we won't be carrying a significant debt service. So I think that once you pointed that out to me, hey, okay. So
The issue is our town government that's building right and left and right. That's where a potential issue comes in early for us, but that's out of our hands.
So
We love portables.
But can I ask a question? Do they always fund how far down the list? We moved up to 5th.
Mhm.
You know, we've heard before that they don't always.
Fifth is good.
This is good. It looks like there's a pretty large chunk of money that they're going to be shifting, but we just honestly don't know until there's a new governor in place. So I think that there's not really too much that we can really do about the current timeline as is. We just have to kind of sit back and wait. Chris, do you have anything to add?
No, I just actually getting to that question. The good news is that the schools that are ahead of us, there's 4 elementary schools, and 3 out of the 4 are small elementary schools, 150 students or less. It's not like the current Sanford High School, which is a $100 million project. Elementary schools certainly don't run at the same cost as high schools do. Bill's actually run the numbers on schools ahead of us and what debt service is going to be coming off the books, the state level. So there's a good shot of, in that first round, having 5 schools funded. So, but again, some of the guidance we received is that it's looking like 2024, 2025 is when we'd be looking at this. And much like Scott said, the good news from that is that the high school has 6 more years left on the bonds, and then it'll be fully paid for, and we won't have a lot of debt service at that time. So the financial impact may not be as great as people might think.
And then we went into discussion items as far as Bill's to-do list. It is a long list. I don't know how that guy gets it all done. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Bill and everything that he does, but there is a laundry list of things that's going to be happening. So I will be sending out the minutes to everybody, including attachments, which I know Chris loves. So I'll be sending those out. I would say probably in another. You know what? Honestly, I need to get some information from Bill before I send those out. But I was kind of polishing that stuff up a little bit earlier tonight, so we'll keep you all informed throughout the summer.
I just want to say something about Bill real quick, because our company, we deal with a lot of schools, and Bill really does not only has a big plate, but he does a very thorough job at what he does. He's very, very professional, and we can really feel that we're getting the best bang for our dollar when he puts a project together. My hat's off to him as well.
I would agree, and I would also say that I know if he were sitting here that he would want to say that his team of people do a huge and wonderful amount of work in all year round. So that's really terrific.
Well, thanks, Bill.
Okay, we have time for the board roundtable. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
I would like to welcome Mr. Howell, a new person in our assistant superintendency. We are thrilled to have, well, for me, because I was here before, thrilled to have you back, but in a different position. You attended all of our meetings when you were at curriculum. You used to sit out there every night. And thank God he came, because he could always get the computers working. But we're very happy to have you here. I think we all said our goodbyes to Mr. Davis. And all the years he's been here has been great. And you got a good person to take over.
I guess my question is, will he be a horse of a different color?
Yes, always.
I would like to add my excitement that you're going to be here with us and help us. I think that it continues to be a wonderful team that Mr. Prince has assembled, and I think that's great to have you here. Anybody else for the roundtable?
I have one more thing after the end. I don't want to hog it. But while we're on Mr. Howell, I want to thank him. I think the community should thank him. By the way, I heard the fireworks were super. Mr. Howell is the fireworks person at Summerfest.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, now everybody in the world knows it, right? I heard it was kind of like maybe a little less money to spend on them, but they were really spectacular considering the weather. Bravo, good job.
Anybody else?
I would like to make a quick announcement, if I may. some of you may know, I live in Sebago Heights community. And over the last few years, basically what we have done in the community is every year we have a fundraiser. And the proceeds for these fundraisers go to kids with cancer. So this year's recipient is actually Kylie Dixon. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys the event details, what's going to be going on. It is going to be on Saturday, July 28th at 12 o'clock. The location is 5 Quinn Road in Wyndham. It's right on the Wyndham-Raymond line. And I'll just read this real brief summary for you. It is time for the 4th annual Rusty Edge Track Day. The event is for the whole family. We'll have a bounce house, water slide, and a dunk tank for the kids. Over the past 3 years, over $30,000 has been raised for local families impacted with cancer. This is just a neighborhood function, and we've raised $30,000. This year, Kylie Dixon, a Wyndham 19-year-old, needs our help kicking cancer's butt. Kylie was originally diagnosed with anaplastic large cell lymphoma in November 2017. Kylie was declared cancer-free in April 2018, but her cancer has returned quickly and heavily. She has disease in her mouth and chest and was admitted to the hospital on Father's Day to begin treatment. Sorry. This is a tough one. There will be there will be kegs, food donations accepted. A raffle will be held. If you would like to make a contribution to the raffle, please message Heather or Mark Whitaker. Please feel free to bring family, friends, chairs, dirt bike, because they basically have a double lot with a dirt bike track, which is why it's called the track day. That's great. So I hope to be able to see some people, and as a former cancer survivor myself, this event means a lot to me. So
Thank you very much. I
thanks.
know it's obviously well supported, and thank you.
Yep.
Challenge to other neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck.
Okay, I would just like to say that we lost a very valuable and important member of our community, the Raymond community, this week. Captain Dave Maines with the Raymond Fire Department, and he and his family are very important. And Dave helped. Bill Hansen was talking about it. He was always there to help out with fire codes and with all kinds of things to do with fire business in our schools and fire safety and education. And he is 4 children, and he and his wife have 4 children, and his wife Jen was also injured in the accident, and she is still in the hospital in Boston, in Massachusetts. The Raymond community and the fire community around the United States has really come up with a great deal of support for the family in this time, and there will be a funeral to be announced soon. But I know that we have all the care in the world for the family, and we just want to send them our best. So now I'd like to entertain. Yes,
I do
sorry.
have one thing, because now I'm sad. For an upbeat comment for Roundtable, and I couldn't think of it at first, but I did see that this Saturday was at the high school, isn't it? A reunion for Wyndham Chamber Singers. Is that correct? So I think it's 7 to 10 Saturday that tickets are available, and no, it's donations, and that anyone who's sang in the past 30 years are welcome to perform. So it sounded like it'd be a wonderful performance.
Only 30? I mean, I was
30.
40
Well,
years
no,
ago.
I'm sure it doesn't stop at 30.
Thank you, then. Of
I
course.
feel hoggy. I feel very hoggy today. I just want everybody to know that the summer lunch program will be starting July 9th. It runs for 6 weeks. It's at Dundee Park. Lunch, it's an open site. Lunch is served from 12 to 1. Anybody who's 18 and under can get a meal there. Dundee is a place that you pay to get in, but if there are people who are economically disadvantaged and cannot afford it, if they contact Jeannie Riley at central office, the town is giving us scholarship passes. So if there is a family that would like to attend these lunches or bring their children to it, get a hold of Jeannie and she will get a pass for you. It's great. This is I think our 3rd year there, and people say, why do we do it there? This is a federal program, and you're only allowed to have it where you fall in the realm of an area that is 50% and above free and reduced. And for some reason, Dundee Park is it for us. They take it from the census map. It's a federal program, so there is no moving around. There's no moving parts. They're straight line. But at least the good part about it is it's a place you can go. If people have a pass there, you have a pass. You have it for the summer. You can show up at 9 o'clock in the morning on the day open at 8 and stay all day if you want.
Okay,
so it's a great place if you need to take the children there to eat.
Do you guys track data on that?
We do. You have to. It's a federal program.
Sure.
Yeah, like the federal government. Yeah, you do. Okay, could I? Anyone have anything else they want to add? Okay. Could I have a motion to enter into executive session, please?
I move to enter into executive session in order to discuss or consider the condition, acquisition, or use of real property, specifically a shared vehicle maintenance facility pursuant to Title I, Section 4056C, and not return to regular meeting.
Second.
It's been seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. It is 7:20.